could this be? A bottle of wine. Oh, you know me so well. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make a fabric gift bag 2 different ways. Hi, I'm Nikita, and welcome to my channel where this is what I do. I drink and I sew things. Today I'm drinking a 2018 Pinot Noir by Argyle, which is a Willamette Valley wine. Did you know that Pinot Noir is my favorite? If you've watched anything on this channel, then this is like the only kind of wine I drink. But it's because it's so delicious. Alright, so pour yourself a glass of wine and let's get started. For this project, you're gonna need some fabric, 1/2 inch ribbon, and a safety pin. That's it, people. Let's do this thing. I've put the measurements down in the description for both of these bags, the cut size and the finish size. So place your fabric wrong sides up, and we're gonna start on one end and we're gonna fold it over about 1/4 inch. Now you can either pin this or you can press it. And now go ahead and do the other side. We're folding it toward the wrong side. Now that you have both ends pressed in or pinned, you are going to take this to your sewing machine and you are going to stitch a straight stitch all the way across on each side. I'm going to be lining this up to the inside of my presser foot to make sure that my seams on both sides are even. Alright, now while we're still here by our sewing machine, I'm just going to fold my little bag and match these 2 seams I made together so that the little bag is right sides together. So I have 2 open ends on the long sides. Okay, we're going to sew these together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now we don't want to sew all the way up because we need to leave a place for the drawstring. So we are going to mark on one side 2 inches down from the top. And I'm going to put a pin there to tell me not to sew. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to sew from the bottom to my pin with a 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides. Now that our seams are finished, let's take it back to our iron. See how mine is kind of fraying like this? If you don't want that to happen, then before you stitch this side, you can serge it or sew it with a zigzag or an overlock stitch, and that will prevent that from happening. We're gonna have some wine while our iron heats up. We're gonna press this seam open. It's not super important that you press it all the way open. What is important is that we take this top part and fold it back the same seam allowance, so 1/2 inch, and press that flat all the way up, even the part that you didn't sew. And then do it to the other side of the bag as well. Now we're going to take this back to our sewing machine and we are going to stitch using like an 1/8 inch-ish seam allowance down this open side. Then we're going to sew across here, right underneath where the seams meet. And then we're going to sew up the other side. We're going to do that on both sides. Now that our 2 sides are sewn, we're going to make the sleeve for our drawstring. So now that we've sewn these, we're going to make the sleeves. So fold the top down so that the top meets where you stopped sewing. So you're folding it down about 1 inch. And then go ahead and press that. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to fold it down the same amount so that I'm matching it on the other side. Now we're going to take this to our sewing machine and we're going to sew along this seam that we already made when we folded down the top and stitched it earlier. So we already have a guideline to sew around. If you want to try to give your bag like a boxy bottom with a little bit more structure, so start with your bag like this. And then we're going to take one of the side seams and we're going to face it up towards us. Take the two sides and pull it out until it makes a triangle. Now it's very important that we want the triangle to match on both sides so that it's not like super weird. Otherwise the box on the bottom will look, well, it'll look wonky. I'm gonna flatten open this seam with my fingers here. You can also flatten it open with an iron if you want. Because this is a small bag, I'm gonna measure down from the corner, probably 1.25 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to draw a line straight across. I'm going to do the same thing on the other corner. Now this line on each side, I'm going to go sew straight across it. Now this is what it looks like. If you want, you can go ahead and trim off this extra fabric, but let's turn it right side out. And then look at that, a little bag that stands on its own. So it has this nice bottom where it makes a little more of a gift bag look. So if you want to add this extra structure, you can just sew those little triangles. For a larger bag, sew a little bit more. So for this, we only did 1.25 inches, but if you're doing a larger bag, go a couple of inches in, and then it will take some off of the height of your bag, so be aware of that. So when you're threading the ribbon through, you have a couple of options. I always love to give you options, don't I? Oh, left my line by my sewing machine again. So one option is you can cut 2 pieces of ribbon and you'll thread them through. I'll show you a drawing here, but you'll thread them through kind of opposite ends. And then that way, you'll make little ties and you can have 2 sides to cinch and pull it together. Your other option is to cut 1 piece of ribbon, thread it all the way through, and then you'll tie it together and have just 1 side to cinch instead of 2. If you are doing the 1 ribbon method, measure how wide your bag is and then cut a piece of ribbon that's about 4 times that length. It'll probably be too big, but we would rather have it be too big than not have it be enough and have to cut another piece. Note to self, don't get ribbon that has glitter in it. I'm going to put a safety pin through one end of the ribbon. Okay, so you're gonna find an opening and you are going to, I'm gonna make sure my ribbon is going the right way. You're going to thread that ribbon and push it into the opening and then work the safety pin and the ribbon all the way around. Knot my piece of ribbon together, cut off any excess, and ta-da! I have a little teeny drawstring bag. How about that? And now I'm also covered in glitter. Oh my gosh. There's glitter on my wine glass. To do the 2 ribbon method, you're gonna need 2 pieces of ribbon about 20 inches in length. Put a safety pin through one end of one of the pieces of ribbon. And now we're going to feed it through until we pull it out the other side. I'm gonna make sure that the 2 ends are even as well. Now I'm gonna take my other piece of ribbon, put a safety pin through it, and starting at the end that doesn't have ribbon sticking out of it, I'm gonna feed it through this side. And be careful because now we have ribbon in the way and we wanna make sure that we don't kind of, you know, ruin it. Now that you have both pieces of ribbon threaded through, let's tie little knots in the ends. Now we have this great little drawstring bag. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and didn't get too covered in glitter like I did. If you did enjoy this video, would you please like and subscribe, and then stick around so that you can drink along and sew along with me on my next video. Thanks for watching.